Welcome, friends. I'm Nancy Fox.
And I'm Elaine Doran. And this is Deep Diving Divas, where wisdom, reinvention, and a whole lot of laughter always take center stage.
Today we are so thrilled and already laughing because we have comedian and author Mark Miller with us today. And if you ever wondered why dating feels like a part-time job with terrible benefits, Mark is the guy who turns all of that chaos into comedy gold. And look who he's worked with, some of the comedic greats, like the late Robin Williams, Dana Carvey, Kellen Nealon, to name drop a few. Plus, he's written special stand-up comedy material for Roseanne, Rodney Dangerfield, Joan Rivers, Jay Leno. The list goes on and on.
Yes. Well, Mark's book, 500 Dates, it dives into the world of dating, the wins, the disasters, and the did that really happen moments. And today, he's bringing his sharp humor and big heart to the Divas couch.
So, buckle up, Divas. This episode might just teach you more about dating than you've learned your entire adult life.
Hey there, friends, it's Nancy and Elaine. They're the Deep Diving Divas, it's quite a name. They're diving deep into the things that matter most, from friendships to family and so much more. Join them each week for a splash of fun.
Hello, Mark. So nice to meet you.
Hello, Nancy and Elaine. I'm happy to be here, although I have to tell you right up front, I'm a little confused because when I heard it was Deep Diving Divas, I thought we would be talking about scuba diving or snorkeling, but I'm happy to adjust.
Yeah, we'll get our gear out in just a minute. We haven't started yet. But Mark, we actually met you through our wonderful mutual friend, Lana Romoff, the talented artistic artist that she is. But let me ask you, Mark, you have this book. Get this title, okay? Write it down, everybody. 500 Dates, Dispatches from the Front Line of the Online Dating Wars. Whew. Okay, so what possessed you to write this? I mean, what is this, what you mean by 500 dates?
Well, first of all, it's not a book written from scratch in the sense that it's a compilation of my published humor essays about my online dating experiences. So I wrote essays about my pain and anguish and challenges and frustration in the dating world, and they were published in the Los Angeles Times, the Jewish Journal, the Huffington Post, many other online and hard copy places. And then once I got about 50 of them, I thought this could be an interesting book and maybe helpful and entertaining to people. So I compiled them into that book. The very last portion of the book is a series of humor pieces I did for a publication that was a fake news publication, but those pieces I did were all about love and dating. So it's just a little dessert tidbit at the end of the book.
So were there really literally, can we ask you, were there really literally 500 dates? You count them?
Probably closer to 750. But this was over a 20-year period, you have to understand, so I'm not as much of a slut as it might appear.
So, Mark, let me ask you, over that 20-year period and 700 plus dates, well, clearly you never gave up. So did you finally meet the right girl?
Well, I did have a series, maybe 4 or 5 longish term relationships. Most of those dates mentioned that large number were first time coffee dates where it was determined by one or both of us that it wouldn't work out. But I had some long-term relationships, and I'm currently in a 10-year relationship with someone where it did work out, obviously, and we did meet online. So there's hope, but you have to have the persistence and the goal and the passion, and I guess the stomach for a lot of frustration and kissing frogs and things that don't work out. And to me, I not only had those things, but I was able to monetize it in the sense that of writing about those experiences and getting them published in different places.
This is a hot topic, dating 101. What do you think, based on your full circle of 20 plus years, should that actually be a required class that's taught in high school these days? I mean, they can teach things like ghosting etiquette and panic text prevention. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. You know, my theory has always been we learn an awful lot of stuff in school that we never use in life, you know, trigonometry and, you know, different, you know, if you don't go into the math field. And then we encounter things later in life that we wish we knew about. That how valuable would it have been if in school you learned how to balance a checkbook or change a tire or eat nutritionally healthful meal, all these life skills, and dating is certainly one of them. Otherwise, we enter into those things really blind and make a lot of mistakes that probably could have been avoided if they gave us a little bit of grounding in
Well,
school.
let me ask you. I mean, of course, there's always the coffee date that came around before we had all these espresso bars. So that was interesting that we gave it that name. But, you know, they seem harmless and, you know, until they're not. So, you know, in your expert comedic opinion, what is the proper way to send a coffee date? Or, I mean, to end a coffee date? You know, do you do it dramatically? Do you do it politely? You know, do you do it without needing a witness protection program afterwards? What do you do? What do you say?
I think the best advice about that I have ever got is 3 words, which also apply to almost every other situation in life. And those words are read the room, you know? So, and what that means is if it's a connection, it's usually obvious to both people and you want to see each other again and it's no problem. You plan the next thing. If it's really horrible, I think the best thing to do is to, you know, thank them for their time and say you enjoyed meeting them and maybe even mention something nice about them, something good about the experience, and you go your separate ways. But read the room means what does it really feel like? What is your gut telling you about this thing? And then proceed naturally from there.
You know, I thought you were saying leave the room.
Oh, leave the room. You end up doing that too. Read the room and then leave the room.
Just say to them nicely, leave the room.
Yeah.
I think it's really daunting dating today. And so, you know, what I've always, again, I mentioned to you off, you know, camera, I've been with my husband 50 years, so I'm definitely not the expert when it comes to dating, but I have helped a lot of friends. And the reality is, you know, coffee dates are probably good to start with because you're not committing to a first course, second course, you know, and dessert. What's your thoughts on coffee dates?
I agree. You know, it's quick because what I found that if there's a match, if there's chemistry and if it's the right thing for both people, you'll know it almost immediately, often within the first few minutes. And if it's not, and usually they're not, you know, according to percentages. And if they're not, do you really want to sit there for an entire meal and you know, watch the other person eat and endure a lack of chemistry? You know, so I'd rather do the quick in and out, and then if it's right, then the next date can be the meal.
Well, you know, you said that you actually welcome bad dates, which is really interesting. I mean, you know, what did you decide to do? Do you have a portion in your book that you could share with us? That's what you decided to do when you just like had enough with bad dates?
Well, at one point when I thought there wasn't any hope and I had endured a series of dates where the chemistry just wasn't there. You often hear from experts that before you can really be right for somebody else, you've got to, you know, attain that inner peace and be right for yourself and be comfortable with yourself and really like yourself. And so I thought I would take that to the obvious dating extent. And, well, I don't want to give it away, but let me read the excerpt, and I think you'll get what I did at
I love that.
greatest point of being fed up. The weekend had arrived. Romance was in the air. And after a hard several days at work, I was so in the mood for love. I was looking good, feeling good, had a wallet filled with cash, and was ready, willing, and able to do anything that my hot, beautiful date desired. Life was filled with sweet potential. There was just one tiny problem. I didn't have a hot, beautiful date. I didn't have a date, period. I was the sequel to Sleepless in Seattle, dateless in Los Angeles.
Oh.
While being dateless on the weekend is not an unusual state of affairs for a single person in a big city, I just didn't feel like surrendering to the standard carry-out food and video option. I wanted to go out. I wanted to have some fun, and not with my male friends, commiserating over how hard it is to meet someone. Oh, sure, there were my platonic female friends, but I wanted romance. There were bars and parties and dances, but I'm not a bars and parties and dances kind of guy. There were escort services, but I wanted to be with someone who wanted to be with me, not someone who's paid to be with me. Unless, of course, it was Salma Hayek, but she has yet to respond to my offers of payment. That's when the solution occurred to me, and it was one that, strangely enough, I'd never even considered before. It was this. I would ask out someone I knew would be available, knew everything about, was good-looking, healthy, had a wonderful personality, shared all my interests, was romantic and passionate, and was really fun to be with. That's right. My plan was to ask out the only one I knew who fit those qualifications and was available. I planned to ask myself out on a date. I realize there are many of you out there who are already judging me. Maybe you're lucky enough to be married, in a committed relationship, dating, or maybe you're even single, but saying to yourself, I'd never stoop that low to ask myself out on a date. Well, judge not, lest ye be judged. Walk a mile in my shoes. And of course, it takes one to know one. Oh, sure, I understood that there would be certain limitations, but any person you meet has certain limitations. I understood that some people wouldn't approve, but hey, I'm not dating for their approval. I'm dating to make myself happy. Besides, think of all the money I'd be saving. And if it didn't work out, it was just one night. I could always dump myself. My mind was made up.
Oh, that's so great.
That's the part of it.
So Mark, so here's the part. Your book clearly takes the dating world and turns it into something people can laugh about instead of cry about, right? Or maybe with your story, a little bit of that. What sets your book apart from all the other dating title books out there?
Well, first of all, it's based on actual in-person research of the 500 dates, so it's not just theorizing about them. It's written by a comedian, former stand-up comedian and comedy writer, so there's a lot of humor in it. And I think it offers hope based on all the mistakes I've made. No other book features my mistakes, which were very instructive and painful and humorous. So it's very personal to me.
And people can relate. So let me ask you, we've got some women out there, well, and I'm sure men too, and several of my friends have asked, some that have never been married and some have, who are just, and they're now either widows, divorced, or just been single all their life. And they say to me, Elaine, do you think that Mark could tell us has he have any suggestions for women? What is it with sex? What's the whole deal with dating when you're this age, when you're 60, 70, 80, even 90? I mean, is there a chance? And should women still expect to be able to go online and find a date? What are men's expectations when they're that age? What are they looking for?
I would say, a lot of people, I'm sure you've spoken to people who've just given up. They say either because they've had so many frustrating experiences in the past, or they don't believe anybody would be interested in them. But my theory is we always know what the obstacles are. We always know what our drawbacks are. But if we want something, to me, it's always nothing ventured, nothing gained. You know, you may be turned down in 100% of the cases. Probably not. You'll succeed if you keep trying, but if you never try, you'll definitely never achieve something. So I like to move forward with optimism and figure there's somebody out there for sure, and why not?
And Mark, what's your take? So Elaine's other question was about sex, sex, 60 and above. Is that something that, men are still looking for? The reality is a lot of men go for younger women, but what about 60 and 60, 70 and 70, 80 and 80, 90 and 90? What's going on there?
You'll probably encounter people if you do a lot of coffee dates that are not interested in sex anymore, and that's where you weed them out. If you are,
does it come up right away? Is that a question that you would ask?
Not right away, but in the course of it, you maybe can scope out their interest. Maybe you make that clear in the initial write up on your dating profile too. But I would say most guys are interested in a full actual relationship, including sex. So I would move forward with that in mind and just pass over the ones that aren't interested. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you want somebody that matches your own desires. The other thing I would say is not to limit yourself to dating sites, online dating, all the traditional dating things that are open. Some of the best advice I've gotten is to meet people naturally, as our pioneer ancestors did. One of the recommended ways to do that is through volunteering. Volunteer at something you're interested in. So even if you don't meet a person there, you still get the gratification that you're doing something wonderful for the world. I'm currently volunteering at a food prep kitchen called Our Big Kitchen LA.
I saw you on TV. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, and in fact, recently, Meghan Markle and her prince husband stopped into that very place where I volunteer, and they did a session there. But you can meet a lot of fun people of all ages, including your age, doing things like that. So I would recommend doing that. There's an organization called meetup.com. Maybe you've heard about it, where it's a collection of meetup groups of various interests. So if you're interested in, wine tasting or book collecting or hiking or anything, they have interest groups for it. And you're probably likely to, that's another example where you'll have fun doing something you enjoy, even aside from meeting person. That would be an obvious bonus if you made a love connection at one of those things. But those are just ways to put yourself out there where you don't feel like it's specifically a do or die dating situation.
Mark, we're going to have to go soon. So is there anything else, like if you were going to give your top 10 best, tips for your online dating for someone that's never done it before, and clearly you're the pro, what do you recommend?
You don't have to give us 10.
Did I say top 10? I didn't mean that. Top 3. Sorry.
Let me see how I, just off the top of my head, a few of them we've already discussed. I would say stay optimistic. Put yourself out there in both dating and non-dating ways. Keep yourself in the best physical shape as possible. Don't overlook exercise and nutrition. Be open to people who have different interests than you have. I think that's what makes the relationship whole, really, when you can complement each other with different interests. And also, one person can go off doing their interest if it's not your thing, and you can go off doing yours and discuss it when you get back. I think variety is the spice of life. And I would just say, here's something that often happens, and I have a friend that does this too, and I won't out them by their name, but I think it's a mistake for all of us. You'll encounter, you'll go to a coffee date say, and you'll find one thing that doesn't please you about the person, and that'll torpedo the entire possible relationship. So I would say be open and realize that, especially at our age, people are going to have things that'll irk you,
Yes.
but look at it as a pie chart. Do 80 to 90% of the things seem to be positive that you like about them. So don't let those things in the smaller category end it for you.
Which is
Perfect.
one of the things that I'm sorry, I'll say it quickly, but that I think one of my friends, she's really stuck on really if they're attractive to her, if they're attractive looking, appealing. And that immediately for some people just stops them from going in any further. So, I don't know what kind of advice you have for that, but
I think when you establish a connection with somebody and you have a mutual bond, a magic thing happens where they become more attractive to you. So I would say be open. If they're within the realm of possibility of attractiveness, I would say, be open to that.
Mark, is there anything that we didn't cover that we should know about you?
I think we did pretty well, and while I appreciate your asking me for more, I have to be honest and say, frankly, I'm just not that deep.
this is Deep Diving Divas. You got to come up with something, Mark.
Yeah, we said no snorkel, but we go deep diving.
I'm sorry, I thought it was shallow diving divas.
By the way, you're celebrating 10 years of writing this book. This is the anniversary of
Yes.
500 dates, dispatches from the front line of online dating wars. Where can they buy your book?
On Amazon. Just do a search for 500 dates and Mark Miller, and it should pop right up there.
That's perfect. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, do you have an email or a website?
Yes. My email is mark.writer, WRITER, @gmail.com. And my website is Mark Miller Humorist, HUMORIST.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. What a fun segment with you.
Don't email him and ask him for a date. It's too late.
He's taken.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, Nancy and Elaine. And congratulations on the success of your video cast.
We're almost at 30 episodes in just the last
Wow.
4 months. Yeah. So we're moving.
Moving right along. Thank you.
30 is the new 300.
Thanks,
Take
Mark.
care to everybody. We'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure. Take care. Bye.
What a blast. Mark officially made us rethink everything we thought about dating. I mean, it's been a while for us, but he really made us laugh through it all, Nancy.
Absolutely. His stories, his humor, and the way he turned bad dates into brilliant insights is something that, hey, we all need. I mean, not you and me. We're in long-term marriages.
Yeah, we're in for a long ride. But I mean, so friends, don't forget to check out Mark Miller's book, 500 Dates, and follow him for more hilarious takes on love, life, and the art of the first date.
Thank you all for joining us on YouTube or on our podcast. Remember, we're everywhere at Deep Diving Divas. And remember this, whether your dating life is thriving or it's a hilarious disaster, you're not alone. The divas are right here for you. Thank you, everybody.